So welcome everyone. It's so great to have everyone here. We're going to talk today a little bit about human Reiki versus animal Reiki. And just please know I'm going to do a little caveat before I even start. I am not trying to put down any other animal Reiki schools that are out there. Everyone is doing their best. They're doing what they know to do, and that's great. The one benefit of the Let Animals Lead method is that Kathleen started doing animal Reiki back in 1998. That's a very long time ago. And she was doing human Reiki adapted to animals. So what that meant was that she was doing hands-on, right? She would cross tie horses and force hands-on. I say force, she didn't feel like she was forcing. She was doing hands-on to help heal them. She was looking at them as she was the healer. They were broken. She needed to fix them. I can't remember, and I don't know, Kelly, if you remember, I don't think she beamed energy, but I could be wrong about that. But she was doing all the human Reiki things with animals. And she wrote her first book, Animal Reiki book, doing these very things. She wrote her book using human Reiki with animals. So I'm not here to say, so welcome, Monica, welcome, Elaine, Miranda, Joy, all of you, thank you so much. Luna, thank you so much for joining us. So when she wrote her first book back in 2004, I think she wrote it, and I think it came out in 2006. It was all based on human Reiki. And a lot of you may have read that book. A lot of you might even find that human Reiki works with animals. And I'm not here to tell you that it doesn't. I mean, Kathleen was doing this for 8 years and it worked, but it only worked on about 75% of the animals, right? Because when you have a sensitive animal, a shut down animal, a distrustful animal, a wild animal, if you beam or you go into with the attitude of, oh, I'm going to fix you, you're broken, I'm here to heal you, then you're putting yourself above the animal. Also, if you focus on hands-on, and hands-on is what you do, and this is where all your energy comes from, you can't do hands-on with a wild tiger. You can't go to the Care Foundation where we always go, and you can't do hands-on with a tiger, or worse yet, with Ngozi the crocodile. I don't care how calm Ngozi the crocodile is, the minute you go in there to touch him, he's going to eat you. So there's certain animals where human Reiki doesn't work at all. So when Kathleen started studying with Franz Stine, who's the International House of Reiki, back in 2006, she learned the more traditional way of Reiki, which is meditative based. So Usui, when he created this system, he didn't use hands-on healing in the way that Mrs. Takata created, which is, put your hands here for this element, there were all types of different hand positions that you go through. That didn't happen with Usui. Usui didn't teach hand positions. Usui taught a chair treatment that you will learn if you take the Let Animals Lead classes. But he didn't teach this, you do this hand position, this end. And he was more focused on the meditative practices of what he had created, right? So he went up on Mount Karama. He did a 21-day fast. And during that fast, the system of Reiki came to him, and he was coming down the hill. You remember, he stubbed his toe, he put his hand on his toe, boom, healed. And he comes down up the mountain and he sits with people, right? He's sitting, he's meditating. And as he's sitting, meditating, people around him are getting healed. And it's like, wow, there's something to this energy within this meditation. We all have that energy within us. We all have it. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but that's the difference. The Let Animals Lead is more in alignment with what Usui created, which was a meditative practice. We sit in meditation, our energy becomes calm. And in that beautiful space of calmness, that's when the animals come to connect. And so I think that one of the biggest misconceptions about Let Animals Lead animal Reiki, and human Reiki is that people think we don't allow any touch. And that's not true. And we're going to talk a little bit about the differences in touch. But I wanted to give you just like an overview of where we are coming from, Kelly and I, when we talk about animal Reiki. And when we say animal Reiki, unless I say not let animals lead, we're talking about the let animals lead method of animal Reiki. That method is really incredibly powerful. And I want you all just to take a moment and think about this. So we all know, these are all facts. Usui went to the mountain. We all know that he meditated for 21 days. I've talked to Nicholas Pearson, who is a Reiki scholar, Reiki master, speaks fluent Japanese, wonderful man. He's doing an incredible level 3 class, I think, in San Francisco at the end of the month. And he said that in all likelihood, Usui spent the 21 days outside on the mountain, which means that was a very, meditating in nature is not something that Usui just made up. It's called Shigundo is the practice. And so when you see monks that are like underneath a waterfall and they're hanging onto a chain and they're like meditating, that's Shigundo practice. It just means being out in nature in the elements and meditating. So that's probably what Usui was doing. But I want you all to just think about this for a moment. Now, for those of us who have, I know Tanya's on the call, and Tanya, if you want to unmute for a moment. When you meditate with animals, everything gets quiet. And it's not just the animals that you're with, it's all the animals around you get quiet. The birds, the lizards, everyone gets really quiet when you meditate. And you see this most obviously when you go to care. And so that's why I wanted Tanya to unmute for a minute, because she was just there a couple of weeks ago. When we meditate, like when we do the chanting, or we're just out doing very simple meditations, like there's one where I send people out and you just color. Coloring is very meditative. So all they do is just go out and sit and color in front of the animals. And Tanya, I would love for you to share what happens at a busy place like Care, where there's like geese honking and ducks quacking and the goats are snorting and the lion, Chip Chimera is like doing his little noises, and there's all kinds of action. What happens when we meditate? And you're on mute. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So, hey everyone, I was at Care, I believe it was 2 weekends ago. And it was just such a beautiful experience, because on the Saturday when we got there in the morning, we got to have a tour and we got to meet all the animals, and they were very, very excited. And like she says, the birds were like squeaking, and the monkeys were going crazy, and we were just like all taken aback. And then finally, when we started with, like, we got to choose like different animals to meditate with, it was just insane to really see the difference of all of a sudden they were becoming in a meditative state with us. They were joining into the space we have created for them, which was a space of just love and gratitude. And like Leah always explains, we don't see their story. We don't look at their ailments or disease. We just focus on being in a space of just so much beauty and so much love and appreciation for them. And it was crazy because when we left on the Sunday, they were out. Like, they were completely gone, sleeping, conked out, so zen that even Kirsten said, normally I'll know whether to panic or not about the hurricane, but now I don't know because the animals are completely zenned out. So that was my experience.
Anyway, and it's so true, because that cracked us all up, because and it's like also what I was going to say too, Tanya, is that when we're there and we're in our meditative space, like even the little, there's all these little wild lizards and there's wild birds. Everybody gets quiet, not even just the animals of care, but everybody. Don't you think, Tanya? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that was very interesting. So like we kept hearing other animals, like from like there's like a house behind, and it was just completely quiet, and everything was just still. And so that was like something very interesting, because even though we were meditating with the animals at Care, well, all other animals were welcome to join into the space where we were meditating.
Yeah, and that was really cool, because you can hear a lot of the wild birds. And I'm so glad you mentioned, because there are cockatoos I think they're cockatoos, right?
Yeah.
And they're so loud. They scream, they yell, hey, George, hey, George. And they are just like squeaking and squawking. And the monkeys bang their tins and they're like trying to get your attention and they're making all this noise. And it just gets dead quiet. It's crazy. And then, as you mentioned, on our last day when we're getting ready to leave, everybody's just, even the wild animals are just quiet, right? So thank you so much, Tanya. I
You're
really
very welcome.
joining. And I was so glad to have you at CARE. It's such a magical place to study animal Reiki. So thank you so much for being there for the animals. So going back to that, so you hear it from Tanya, you know, I want you to hear it from somebody else besides me and besides Kelly, because we're obviously very biased. What was happening? What happens when you meditate? Well, so let's go back to Mount Karama, where Usui was. And now let's think about this. Usui's on the mountain. Usui's meditating. He's in this deep meditative space. There's all kinds of wild animals. I've looked this up. There's wolves, there's bunnies, there's a different type of deer that I think is extinct now. There's wild birds, there's eagles, there's all of these animals. And it's, you know, I can't remember the year now. What was it? 1920 something, because he passed away in 1933. I think it was 6 years before that. So it was like 1927 or 26 in there. So anyway, so he's up there, right? And he's meditating. And all of these wild animals are there too. What do you think happened? I mean, can you imagine? Usui's energy is strong. He came down from the mountain, and when he would meditate, people were finding themselves healed without him doing anything, including focusing on them. So then he comes down from the mountain. Who do you think his teachers were? Who do you think? I mean, if you look at this, if we're going to say which came first, the chicken or the egg, which came first, human Reiki or animal Reiki? I'm going to say animal Reiki came first, because he was with these animals, and these animals are showing him, you don't need touch. You don't need, your energy is bringing a peace and a calm. We don't know if maybe any of the animals were injured or if they were ill and they came and sat with him and boom. We don't know, but he came down from the mountain with a lot of confidence. Usui went to the mountain. It's not sure if he went to the mountain to kill himself, because he, unlike most Japanese people who have a skill, you hone your skill and you work on that one skill. He had something like 29 different jobs, which was very dishonorable in Japan. So they don't know that when he went up to the mountain, if he went up there to actually commit suicide. But he didn't. He came down, beautiful Reiki energy, and this stuff is happening, and he comes down even more powerful. And what that story means for me personally, and this is my own personal opinion, nobody else has said this, this is just my personal opinion, is that I know from being at CARE, like Tanya was sharing, that the animals connect deeply in that beautiful, calm space with us. When we're with them and we're meditating, they are connecting. And not only are they connecting with us, they're actually elevating us. They're bringing us to a higher level of consciousness when we meditate with them, when we let go of trying to fix, trying to heal, trying to cure, when we are just being with them. That's the most powerful state. And in that state, anything is possible. And that's what Usui, this history, this basis for the Let Animals Lead method, for me, is it started with Usui. It started that far back. So, of course, Kathleen learned, you know, the more traditional Japanese Reiki, the more Usui Japanese Reiki from Franz. And then she evolved that into animals. So when we talk about the Let Animals Lead version of animal Reiki, it's much different than any other animal Reiki school out there. And it's not to say that, I'm not saying like, oh, those are bad schools. Those schools are doing what Kathleen did almost 20 years ago, like 18 years ago, right? They haven't evolved enough yet. Now, they are evolving to, Kathleen, even back in 1998, was always asking permission of animals. And so they are asking permission, I believe now, some of those schools. And some of those schools are even saying we give animals choice. But if you're beaming energy, you're not really giving animals choice. But at least they're moving towards that. And the reason that the Let Animals Lead method is so effective and is accepted by shelters all around the world is because of our approach, because we're not trying to fix or heal, and animals are completely open to it. So I want to share it, and I think I've shared this story before, but it's on the internet. It's if you Google Kathleen Prasad healing equine trauma, you will find this, and maybe somebody can find the article and put it in the chat for me. That would be great. But in that article, she talks about how she went to a horse rescue. It was therapy horses with a group of students. And it was in Sacramento. She had gotten the connection through Mark Malik, who is a vet up in Sacramento, and she was teaching at his facility, and they wanted to do an outing to this horse therapy, which Mark thought that the horses could really use some extra support, some extra Reiki support. So Kathleen was like, yes, we'll go out there. We'll help these horses. So, or not help the horses, but, you know, we'll just support the horses. So when they got there, the lady who runs the horse rescue, and again, these are ex-therapy horses that actually weren't treated very well. So they were very shut down. They didn't trust people. They weren't connecting to people. And the woman said that, hey, by the way, they chased the last Reiki person out of the round pen. I don't think they like Reiki. And you hear this a lot. You hear, oh, my dog doesn't like Reiki. My cat doesn't like Reiki. Oh, this dog hates Reiki. This dog threw up, blah, blah, whatever that is. And hopefully you'll understand a little better why it's not the Reiki, it's the approach. So the woman tells Kathleen, hey, look, the horses chased this woman out of the round pen. They hate Reiki. And Kathleen said, well, first of all, we don't go in the round pen. We're just going to stand outside the fencing. Second of all, we're not going to do any hands. We're not going to focus. We're just going to go into meditative space. If they don't like it, we will leave. So what ends up happening is everyone starts meditating, and these horses, first of all, these people are asking in their minds, you know, I'm going to be meditating. I would love for you to join me. The choice is up to you. We always give animals choice. You can join in a little or a lot or nothing at all. It's completely up to you. So right away, we're giving them choice. They go into their meditative space, and what do the horses do? And you can see this in the article. The horses start to relax. They start to yawn. They get closer to the fence. They start to, you know, rest their back leg, you know, leaning on their hoof sideways. They're giving all these things of relaxation, heads hanging, yawning, tongues hanging out. You know, male horses, it's all hanging out, right? So they're really relaxed. And after the class ended, and this is why I encourage you to go to the link, and I'll put it in the chat. I encourage you to go watch this video, is because after they left, the horses were completely different horses. They were running around. They were kicking, you know, jumping, playing with each other, rolling on the ground, completely different horses. And the woman was crying when she was seeing this. She's like, on the video, you can hear her saying, who are the old men? Who are the old men? Because these are shut down old horses, not active at all. And here they are after this beautiful session where they were just given love and gratitude. It's all we do. We meditate. We're just meditating and sharing our heart space, right? We're sharing the energy of our heart, which is love and gratitude. And if you take one of our classes, you learn all the different ways to easily drop into this and do this. So you heard Tanya talking about, that was the animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners class. Day 1, the animals really connect. Day 2, they're just like so zenned out. And like Kristen was saying to us, I can't tell if this hurricane's going to be bad or not, because my animals are completely zenned out on the space. And which was really nice, because the animals weren't stressed when she had to move them. Like we had to move a couple skunks and a bunny, and the one skunk is really difficult. And so the one of the volunteers was like, look, I'm going to need your help. I have to wear these big gloves. This skunk is going to get really ugly with me. And so I need you to just have that cage for him. And he didn't. He just got up. She's like, I can't believe how easy that was. And then I was holding one of the skunks, and they were completely calm, and they went into a different enclosure. They were calm. The bunny, the same thing. He went with another bunny, and the bunny was being kind of territorial. But again, it was very just calm. And so when we can share this beautiful energy of no expectation and no trying to heal, where, oh, I'm the healer, I'm here, you're the poor injured animal, you're down here, which is what that woman who went in with the therapy horses did to them. I'm going to heal you. I'm going to use hands-on. I'm going to fix you. Okay, well, they're not broken. They're just not seen. Remember, I say all animals want to be seen, heard, appreciated. Same with humans, seen, heard, appreciated. If you can give any being those three things, that's so powerful. And that's what we do with the let animals lead method of animal Reiki. We're not trying to fix. So that story just beautifully shows you, is an example of what can happen when we let go of our ego. And actually, our ego is the biggest thing that stops us from having these connections. And by that, I mean, not that you think you're this great and powerful healer, but it's that your ego tells you, oh my gosh, you need to help this animal. Oh my gosh, you need to fix this animal. Oh my gosh, this is happening. And so you get all caught up in that. Oh my gosh, I know Reiki, I can do this. Instead, it's what the animals show us is how we have to be. If another animal is sick, and if you have a house of animals, or like you used to see this at Brighthaven when Kathleen taught classes at Brighthaven, when it was in Santa Rosa, you would see a cat or a dog that was ill, or maybe was getting ready to transition. And there would always be animals surrounding that sick or dying animal. It wasn't like they were trying to fix it. They weren't using their little kitty paws to try and heal or fix. They were holding space. And that is so powerful. And so when Kathleen's class went to the therapy horses, they weren't trying to fix or heal. They were holding space. But our ego will tell us that's not enough. You're not doing enough. You need to do more. And it's something that's very natural. I mean, think about yourself when you were a little kid, and maybe your mom or somebody else, like if you got hurt, they would come up, they would nurture you, they would put a Band-Aid on you, they would give you medicine, whatever that is, or you're sick with the flu, you're getting nurtured, they're fixing you, right? They're healing you. And not even with like, they're not doing Reiki healing or anything. It's just something. So we're grown up, we're raised that way. Oh, we got to fix this. We got to heal this. I mean, we didn't go to the hospital or the doctor for every little ailment we had. We always had something to fix us, to cure us. Well, animals, yes, they're going to get sick and they're going to need their medicine. But what is really powerful about what we do is with animal Reiki, with the let animals lead method of animal Reiki, is that we hold space so that they can be less stressed, so that they can be calm, so that they can feel supported. And this system is an amazing way to support animals' emotional needs. If an animal is stressed, anxious, to just sit in that beautiful space and not expect anything of them is really incredibly healing. So I want Kelly to pop on and talk, because Kelly actually does do human Reiki, right? Which is very hands-on. So in a human Reiki session, you, the practitioner, are offering Reiki to the person, and the person is laying there and you're moving around doing different hand positions, and you're actually focusing on what's wrong. Now, why is that so powerful with humans? Because again, our ego gets involved. So if I'm laying on Kelly's table and I know Kelly is an amazing healer and I have like stomach issues, and Kelly starts to lay her hands on my stomach and I feel her energy, where does my mind go? My mind goes, oh, I'm healing. Oh, this is working, right? Because my mind believes it. But if I didn't trust Kelly, I didn't think she was a very good healer, and she was doing the same thing, and she was putting her hands on me, and maybe I just distrust Reiki practitioners in general, I would go, oh yeah, I feel nothing. Nothing's happening. I'm not healing. Same energy, same thing, but my mind, my ego is getting involved. That's why the placebo effect works with humans. You can give somebody a pill, tell them, oh, this is going to cure you, this is going to heal you. And if they truly believe it, it will happen. But with animals, there's no placebo effect. You can't say, hey, this pill's going to fix you, dog, and you're not going to feel any pain. They don't understand that. It either is going to work or it's not going to work. And so with animals, we don't move around them. We're not forcing hands on. What we're doing is we're sitting and we're meditating, and they get to move around us. So completely opposite to a human session. Human session, you're on a table, you're getting worked on. Reiki session, you as the practitioner are just sitting, meditating, and the animals are moving in and out. Maybe they'll come lay next to you. Maybe they'll move farther away. Maybe they'll come lay right in your lap. Maybe they'll go into another room. It's their choice. There is no right or wrong with the animals, but they show us you don't need to be right on me in order for me to feel your energy. Our energy, science has proven, we're what? 99.99999% energy and only 0.0000001 or one of matter, but we have trillions of cells. So of course we're matter, but our energy field is huge. It's wide. And animals show us that. Like, I don't have to be in the same room with you. I don't even have to be 5 feet from you. I can be way across the pasture and still feel this energy. And if they really want to feel like, oh, feel supported, they might come closer. They might get more of that, right? It's like a warm, like a fire. You can go far away from the fire and still feel the heat, but you can go really super up close to the fire and get lots of that heat, right? Though, Kelly, I know I kept talking here. I would love for you to pop on and just a little bit about your experience. I'm going to try to make this the gallery. It wasn't, the multi-speaker wasn't. So could you talk again, Cal, so you can get up on the screen with me?
Yeah, so you see me, I'm on my phone this time, so I don't know if it's making a difference. Okay. So yeah, I was thinking while you were talking initially about the graphic that we have in the manual of the person moving around the animal, moving around the table, as opposed to the person sitting still and having the animal move freely. And I also kind of flashed back when you were talking about animals holding space and how, they do that naturally. And I was at Animal Aid in India watching a cow hold space for another cow that was actively dying. Just stood there, did nothing, just stood by its side, very close. And they asked me to work with the cow who was dying, but I just felt like I was invading the space, like I was intruding. But it was a really beautiful thing to watch how it was a natural action that was happening, that nobody said to this cow, go and, sit and do energy work with your friend here. But there are a lot of experiences in the beginning before I started working with animals through animal Reiki, but I was doing Reiki. I did the hands-on thing when I first learned it also, but I noticed that when I go and do sessions with people and they had animals in the house, like cats especially, would come and lay on their person or sit in the room with us, and they just come in, dogs, whatever, would be in that space. And that's really how I actually got in a shelter, was by working on the staff member, sitting in a chair and doing chair Reiki and having her dog just like crash, which was highly unusual. And that's why it was so easy for me to get in there. I don't know, it's people have a lot of trouble, but I'm sure it was the dog who got me in there. But one of the things I noticed so much, because I practice animal Reiki this way, is that it's a beautiful complement to working. If you're a human practitioner and you're going into a hospital setting or a hospice setting, excuse me, or a lot of times there's a lot of equipment around the head of the bed where the person's lying, and it's impossible to even get in there, or you can't, for different reasons, actually touch a person in the hospital in different areas. So some hospitals require you to be above the body. So right there, I could see that, this was really helping me to let go, this practice of let animals lead, to let go of the need to actually touch the animal, but also with people. And so sometimes the most beautiful session is just standing at the end of the bed and, doing the same thing I might do with an animal, just opening that space, expanding, grounding myself, expanding that energy, and inviting, the person, either, aloud or just in my mind, to join me in that healing space. And I think that some of the most beautiful sessions I've had were with people who I wasn't touching, and sometimes you couldn't because of, PPE or whatever. You had to be all masked up and everything, and you'd stand back from the person. And it was the same experience as sitting in a room in a shelter and just expanding that energy and letting the animals who were interested, or the animal who was, if they were interested, to come and sit in that energy with me. So for me, the way we practice let animals lead is really informed my human practice, and how I approach people. Some, obviously, like you were saying, we love to get on the table. I'd be on a table 8 hours a day if I had somebody who would do it. But But also, and you talked about this too, when you're touching someone, a human, their mind's going to where you're touching. They're involved in their own healing. But I don't practice like I'm going to fix you or anything like that. It's the same mindset as let animals lead. I'm not here to fix you. You're here to do your own healing. I'm just here to facilitate. But the hand positions, and I remember asking our teacher that one time, was like, well, why even touch anybody then? If that's the deal. And it's, well, because, like you said, you put your hand there, the mind goes there, if the person is involved in their own healing. But animals are beyond that. They really are so much closer to the energy than we are. I really love that when I'm done, they don't go, what did you feel? What's going on in my body, like people do. A lot of times people are just like, well, what did you feel? And I was just like, doesn't matter what I felt. And so there was a freeing in that as well, of like, I don't have to deal with the human side or the misunderstanding. And it sometimes it wouldn't matter how much I would describe that to a person, they wouldn't get that idea that, oh yeah, I don't have anything to do with what's going on with you. This is the energy flowing and it's going where it needs to go. And, you're really directing it yourself in some way. So yeah, it's just, I think it expanded my practice in a way of, where I'm able to, sit with a person and just be in that space like I would if I was doing an animal session. So they really work well together. And some people do better without touch, right? So, if you're working with somebody who's going through chemo or had some serious surgery, they may not want to be touched. And so we can be in that space still. So also that really helped me to like let go of that idea that I have to touch somebody physically for the session to be successful.
Yeah. And also, I think like Franz, when we studied with Franz, he said, like, if you were to do the let animals lead method, if you were just to sit and meditate and someone comes to you, Kelly, for a session and you just go, okay, lay down on the table. And then you just sit across from them in the room and just meditate. They're going to be like, what? Wait,
Right.
what are you doing? Why aren't you touching me? Because humans need touch, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's really valuable because a lot of people don't get enough of it.
Yeah.
But animals are just like, no, I'm good, and I love that we also, with our animal Reiki sessions, have to bring a really strong awareness because we have to know what's going on with their response and, whether they're open, whether we, if we reach out to touch them and they back off, what we do, how we mirror their behavior. We have to have that mindfulness in that practice. And, you have a person come and you're like, so you okay with being touched? I might be hands off, hands on, that kind of thing. You get permission right there and then, and they can speak up if they're uncomfortable. So, we have less of a, it's less vague. It's more, pretty clear what the person wants when they come for a session. But with animals, we really need to be mindful and pay attention. And so I think that's also what's so incredible about our practice is, whether it's practicing human Japanese Reiki meditations or let animals lead meditations, it helps us to have that strong awareness of, holding that space, but also being mindful of what's happening around us. So we're not like, okay, I got to just go inside and not, know what's going on. I've got to close my eyes. Where that's one of our pillars, right? Is just, practicing in a place of mindfulness where we know what's going on because we can hold the space and still open our eyes and look around.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think that one of the things we teach in animal Reiki too is that it's, you can practice on people because you get feedback that the animals can't give you. But I love how you said that this practice makes us more sensitive. And in this practice, we have to really be aware of, like, unlike with humans, you ask right away, like you said, oh, hey, I'm going to touch you. And they're on a table. They're comfortable there. They're in your place, right? Or some type of a studio or somewhere. Whereas with animals, we're out in pastures, we're out in the shelter, we're out at a sanctuary, and it's their home that we're coming into, which is why permission and respect is so important when you're going to be with animals. Like, you know, a human is coming to you. You already know that they're accepting it. They're already you for this. With animals, they're not necessarily even asking us to be there, yet we are there, and we're going to hopefully hold space, right, for them. And we know how powerful it is, but they don't. So there's different approaches. And we've talked a lot about this in previous sessions, Wednesday sessions, how we want to make sure when we're asking permission that we're comfortable, right? Because if you're uncomfortable, you're standing out in the cold in a pasture and you don't have the right clothes on, your session is not going to be that great. So we always want to make sure that we're really comfortable. But now that we have ourselves all grounded, comfortable, we're out there. Now, what is the animal doing? Are we encroaching upon their space? So one really good example of this is there is a monkey called Chupi at Care. And Chupi loves Reiki energy, loves the energy that's being shared on property, but he does not want some people standing right in front of me, and some people like me, he, for whatever reason, doesn't want me standing in front of him. And so I have to be really careful when I go over by Chupi. It's like, oh, hey, Chupi, I'm going to do this. And if he's like that, then I'm like, okay. And then I just back up, and I back up, or I go to the side where he can still see me, but he doesn't mind me being on the side. He just doesn't want me right there in front of him. So you have to be really aware, like Kelly was saying, you have to be really sensitive. What are they trying to show you? What are they trying to tell you? If you're with a horse and you go up to the horse, or you're at the fence and the horse backs up, you need to back up. You've got to mirror that. So like with a human, if the human backs up, you know, not always do we back up. We're just like, oh, okay, I don't know what they're doing. But with animals, we have to be really sensitive. What are they trying to show us? Because that's how they communicate with each other. Right? They show each other. They yell if they don't want something close to them, right? That's their way of saying stranger danger, get away. Or they're more open to it, right? They're more accepting it. So even at home, some of your animals might be like, yes, I love this. I want to jump into your lap. I want this for myself. But then some animals might be like, yeah, I like it, but I'm going to go lay over here, or I'm going to go in the next room. I don't need you to be on me. But as humans, we're very needy. We're very, very needy people. We like want love from our animals. We want love from the dogs and the cats. And we're all about, oh my gosh, love me, love me. And a lot of animals aren't like that. They're going to show you they love you and accept you by doing things like the horses did. They're going to just relax. That's such a huge honor. We as humans have to learn to accept these little things as huge rewards, right? The fact that a horse, when you're standing next to it, starts to relax in your presence, especially a horse you don't know, and starts to hang their head, starts to yawn, huge, huge. And we need to say, wow, that is huge. Thank you so much for that. Oh my gosh, thank you. What an honor that I'm able to create a space where you feel safe and you can relax. But as humans, we're like, but the horse didn't come up. The horse didn't put its head in my chest. The horse didn't do this. The horse that, you know, and it's like never enough, right? So as humans, we have to be able to say, okay, this is huge. Wow, what an incredible honor. Like going into the cat room at the shelter, it was such a huge honor when some of the cats that were very aloof, didn't want anything to do with anyone, would come closer. Be like, oh, whoa, that's so cool. They really like this energy. Or even at Care, you know, you've got these cockatoos. I mean, I say they screech. You have no idea how loud the screeching is. It is deafening. It is so deafening. And so you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm just going to create this space. I'm going to do my best. And of course, you learn all these different tools that help you do that when you take a class with us. But then when they get quiet, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. That is huge. When the property goes quiet, oh my God, that's huge, right? We have to sit there and say, wow, this is really powerful what we do. Because the more you tell that yourself that, the more you're going to realize that what you have to offer is a huge gift. Even if you don't do the let animals lead method of animal Reiki, let's just say you do like William Rand's version or somebody else's version, just follow the golden rules and you'll always have a really good session. Never force hands on. Always ask permission. Come to the animal with gratitude and joy in your heart. Don't come, you know, we think Reiki meditation is so serious and we go in with like those angry Muppets and we're like, I'm going to sit with you and this is really serious. It's not. It's joyful. You know, the animals, you're lightening their load. You're letting them release some of this heaviness. So if they act silly during, you know, your meditation, allow the animals to do whatever. But when you sit down with love in your heart, with gratitude in your heart, and you need to let them lead. So, like I said, one of the confusing things about the let animals lead is like, oh, you never use hands. No, that's not true. We actually will use hands, not hands on Reiki. We don't use Reiki in our hands. But if an animal comes up for a comforting touch, like let's say a horse does put their nose, their face in your chest, you can slowly put your hands out and gently, just very lightly touch the sides of their head. You can touch their neck. You can touch on their back, but lightly. Horses are great because they'll do the fly thing. Like when they flick off flies, they move their skin. It's like this little, and they'll do that to you. If they don't like your touch, they'll go, oh, get off. And you just back off, right? Dogs might come and back up into your lap, like put their hips into your lap. Dogs love that energy around their hips. So you might just gently put your hands out, or a cat might come up. We just never want to pet roughly or start taking it out of there. We just want to always use gentle touch. So it's not that we don't use touch. We just don't use energy touch. We're not trying to beam or fix anything with our hands. Our hands are there for comfort only. So if you are a regular Reiki practitioner, or you're someone who studied with someone else, just don't ever beam energy. You know how offensive that would be if you were really sensitive to energy. You're just sitting there on a park bench and all of a sudden somebody just like, oh, she looks sad. Boom, just starts beaming energy at you. And you start feeling this energy. You're like, whoa, what is this? You don't want this. It's the same thing animals feel. They're so sensitive to energy. And yet we're like, I know what's best for you. I'm going to beam this energy at you. And they're like, you honestly don't know what's best for me. And I don't like the way this feels. Yeah, Kelly, I can't really see you. So you can just start talking.
So yeah, I just wanted to go back to, for a moment to something you said earlier about, you know, getting feedback from people. And I think if you're only practicing, if you're practicing specifically animal Reiki and not a lot of human Reiki, I really recommend that you do a lot more with humans, just because you get the feedback. And especially if you're a beginner, because in the beginning, we don't often get the subtle nuances of acceptance that come from the animals. And so getting that verbal feedback of like, yes, this is working, can really keep us, you know, engaged and excited about our practice. Because, you know, especially if you're just beginning with the animals, because you can be like, well, I can't tell, is it happening, is it not happening? I know that happens a lot for all of us, even later on, right? And so, you know, it's nice to get that feedback that yes, something's happening, and gives us more confidence.
Oh, no, definitely. And that's why you learn some human Reiki in the let animals lead method, because you really do need that feedback. And again, you know, Kelly, you kind of mentioned this a little bit too. I thought this was what you're going to talk on, because we've talked about this before. If you're doing animal Reiki and you're only working on your own animals, that is going to be a really skewed and biased way of doing it. You might go, oh, well, my animals love hands-on. I always beam energy on my animals and they love it. Yeah, they're your animals. They trust you. They know you, right, Cal? But
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine us going and beaming with, like, you know, a shut down, injured animal? I know you're at the shelter a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, you're talking about you know, animals reacting. I mean, I'll go and sit maybe with some dogs in the back kennel, and the minute they start getting aggravated, I get up and leave, even if I haven't even started yet, because sometimes just seeing me is enough to set them off. Um, so yeah, we have to really be cautious with that. I mean, I had a cat that would like come when she wanted. You know, she thought, okay, today I'm ready. And other days she wouldn't. You know, she knew where to go when she needed some Reiki. And then when she didn't want it, she just didn't show up. So, you know, they know what they need. And
Yeah.
so it's good it's not the force on them.
And then definitely, and Kathleen, I'll get to your message in just a second. But definitely, I think that also, because I know that you don't just always necessarily give up on the dogs. You might go to a different room, because remember, our energy goes out. We don't have to be sitting right in front of them if that's really upsetting to them. Like I said, with Choopy and like you're saying with the dogs, we can then go a little further away. And so Kathleen is asking, could you give more specifics about the level 3 end of month in San Francisco? Oh yeah. So Nicholas Pearson is doing a level 3 human Reiki. It's not a level 3 animal Reiki. But Nicholas is an amazing teacher. Kelly and I know Nicholas very, very well. He has been a friend of Sarah's since around 2017, 18 in there. And yeah, Kathleen, I wish you could come every week too. And so the level 3 is you're going to learn human, but you are going to learn the more meditative. He doesn't focus on teaching, I don't think, the hand positions, does he, Cal?
I'll find out. He's
I
giving
know.
November 1 to 3 in Massachusetts.
So Kelly's going to take it in Matt. Yeah, that's right. He's going to be in San Francisco at the end of October, the weekend of the 26th, 27th, and then he's going to be in Massachusetts. So if you're anywhere on the West Coast, if you want to take a level 3, I don't know if Kathleen's going to do her level 3 at CARE in February. I'm probably going to do a level 3 in September at CARE or somewhere in there. I don't know. This time it was a little scary with the hurricane. I was right in between 2 hurricanes. It was like, oh my gosh, baby Jesus, thank you so much. But so I know Kelly does level 3 in the summer at the Little Red Barn in Vermont. I don't think Kathleen does any in-person level 3s anymore. And then there's always other teachers. You can go on the SARA site, and when they post their level 3 classes, you can find out where you can learn more through our site. But yeah,
That's a level 3 online coming up too in January.
Kathleen has a level 3 online in January. So yeah, sure, of course, Kathleen. And I don't know if you want to unmute and just if you were talking about a human Reiki class or an animal Reiki class. No, she can unmute. She might not be able to. But I just really quick recap of animal. Yeah, animal. There aren't a lot of level 3s coming up, but do check out the SARA website. If I had a better place to do a level 3, I would do a level 3. I love teaching the level 3 at CARE. Kelly's taught level 3 there too. So it's a great place to learn level 3 with wild animals, but even a horse rescue or anything would be great. The problem with Zebs is they don't have enough animals. So I'm kind of looking for another place to teach, but I know Kelly in the summer will have a level 3 in person at Little Red Barn. And if you haven't taken, okay, no problem, Kathleen. If you haven't taken a class with us, you do have to take either a level 2 or the Animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners class in order to qualify to be a Let Animals Lead teacher. So just knowing that. So going back to human Reiki versus animal Reiki, and please correct me if I miss anything, Kelly, one of the things we want to do is we always want to center ourselves with animals, right? You do the same thing with people. You're going to center yourselves. The other difference, but the big difference is going to be, as the human Reiki practitioner, you're going to have your client in your place laying on a table, and you're going to be going around them. With animal Reiki, you are going to be going to them more often than not, and it's going to be their home. So respect is the utmost important thing here. You have got to ask permission. You've got to show respect. I always connect with the animals the night before, whether it's at someone's house, at the shelter, at CARE. I connect with those animals. I don't do an animal communication session. I just offer this beautiful light so they know my energy when I get there. They're like, oh, okay, I kind of know this person. So you're going to their home. You want to have so much respect. You want to let them choose how it's going to look. You want to give them the choice of accepting it or not. So let's say you go to somebody's house and the animal's like, oh, no, I don't like this person. You can still stay there in a room, let them have the freedom to come in and out and just meditate. I remember, I think it was Allison, our European director. She was doing Reiki at somebody's house, and there was no room for her to move out. So she just went outside and sat against the house. Well, unbeknownst to her, on the other side of the wall in the house, the dog went and laid down. The dog didn't want anything to do with her in the house. But as soon as she went outside and put her back to that wall, the dog went right to that wall and laid there. So we always want to give choice. It doesn't mean they don't want you there. They hate Reiki. It means they don't know you. They don't trust you. And which is why we have a whole thing about how to get animals to trust you in our classes. But so that's a really big difference, right? And then at the end of a human session, you can talk to the person. You could touch the person, you could do all kinds of hands-ons, because remember, the ego placebo effect, it all works with humans. And you're going to talk about it, and that's going to even reinforce how well the session went, because they're going to, oh yeah, I felt so good. Oh great, you felt so good. That means it's working, whatever that is. But then animals, you end the session, we always end the session with gratitude and thanks, right? And then what? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So you got to leave your ego at the door. Unlike with human Reiki, they're going to build your ego up. You got to leave that ego at the door and then maybe talk to the person, see, but just know, don't question yourself. That animal, no matter who it is, no matter where it is, when you sit with that animal and you're sitting in that pure space of love, that animal feels it. Now, whether or not you're going to cure that animal or help fix that animal, because, you know, our ego is going to get involved. We're going to go, oh, I went and sat with that animal. He was really stressed out. I really hope that me sitting with that animal helped that animal. And like Kelly mentioned this, you know, we all do it. I don't care how long you've been practicing this. Our egos are going to get involved. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter. What you offered was a beautiful space of peace. And that is always healing, no matter if something that they were doing is fixed or not. And it's really funny because you can go and share Reiki with an animal, create this beautiful space, and maybe something like, let's say you were going there to help them with anxiety because they bark at the door all the time. And when you leave, you hear back from the people and they say, oh, well, the animal is still kind of anxious, but they stopped barking at the door when people come. So you never know. It's really up to the animal. Like Kelly was saying, that it's their own healing journey, right? Even humans, we're on our own healing journey. And so we don't know. So we let go of all expectation. And that's different than human Reiki. Human Reiki, you go in with expectation. You go in with your ego. And that's okay, because humans need that. If you are a human Reiki practitioner, keep doing what you're doing. It works. But it does not always work with animals. And that's why we have these golden rules. Just don't touch them. Don't beam. Always ask permission to be with them in their space. And if you do that, you're going to have a really good session. So I know we're coming to time, but I want to open it up to all of you for questions. If any of you, and I'll put this on gallery. So if you are new to this, you could just raise your hand. If you're not on camera, don't worry about it. Just unmute. I'll see you because I have you all on my screen now. And so you can just talk. So yeah, I don't have my Ellen, sorry, Ellen, go ahead.
Hi. If the animals are coming to you, I do have a few that come to me once a month, and we go into an enclosed space. However, there's a lot of distraction outside of that space, and they sometimes can hear their owners and whatnot. And 9 times out of 10, it's fine. We can work, and we do just fine for about the first 10-15 minutes. But usually after about 15-20 minutes, I find, especially with my repeat animals, they're done. You know, they have gotten their healing. They let me know, and they share that they're done with me. And my sessions are 30 minutes. So how do you manage that with the expectations that the owners might have rather than the animals might have? Because that's my biggest challenge. You know, sometimes they're paying me money, and sometimes I'm saying it's X amount of time, but I usually also say that involves a consultation with the owner as well. But what if they like want to leave the room and we are in an enclosed space? I'd love to learn more about some of the stuff.
Being in a closed space, that's the problem with being in a closed space, because they really don't have that choice. Like you said, they're like, okay, I'll take my healing, and then they might be like, oh, but stuff's going on out there. I want to be out there, right? So I would always just set the expectation. The animal is going to lead the session. It might only be 15 minutes. It might be 30, the full 30 minutes. It's really up to them. To set those expectations. Kelly, I don't know if Kelly's still on the call because I can't see her. Oh, there you are, Kel. So Kel, I don't know if you have some comments about this, because you do this a lot more than I do.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, it's like a 20 or 45-minute session. But I always include the family, whoever's involved with the animal, as part of the session as well. So usually I'm still going pretty well 30 minutes in. But if it's just animal I might be sitting with at the shelter, it could be a 20-minute session. And So I do let people know when I'm, they're booking a session that it could be 20 to 45 minutes, depending on what the animal is open to. But I also let them know that I'm inviting, I invite the whole family or the whole, everybody involved with the animal into the session distantly, for distant sessions for sure.
A
Yeah.
wonderful idea.
That's really powerful in person too. If you can just like, we teach the chair treatment, or even if you want to just like do a little chair session the way, just give the person a Reiki session as part
I've
of it.
done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I start with that in person, just because it helps the animal to settle down before they can experience the energy without my focus on them.
Mm,
So I'm
okay.
focusing on the person, so they're curious and they'll come over, and they, kind of gives them a little feel of what it is.
Great. Thank you for that. And I've been fortunate, just asking for feedback from the owners helps a lot too. Because
Yes.
the animal will be very relaxed during the course of the day.
Right. Yeah, that's really important to get feedback if they'll give it to you. Sometimes they won't.
Yeah.
Also, Ellen, a lot of times the animals are having issues because of the people. So having them just sit, if there's more than one, let's say, and if they're open to it, just like doing breath work, into your belly and then slowly breathing out your mouth, right? It's really powerful to create instant calm. And if they can just do like 10 of those breaths and start to see, and then the animal can see, oh, they're relaxing, I can relax too, right? And just keeping that, but asking them to actually be really calm during the session. Because if they're out doing stuff, yeah, of course the animal's going to want to be like FOMO, right? We all have it. They have
Exactly.
it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a
Thank
little
you.
more difficult when it's like that. But yeah, of course. That was a great question. Thank you so much for asking that.
It's also
Thanks
nice
very
to
much.
have that, the breathing, the HARA breathing, like typed out, which I give out to people when I go to their home, so
Yes.
that they have that to refer to after I leave. Because again, we don't know, it could be the stressed out owner who is causing the problem. But it's something that's nice to offer them so that they have a reminder of, oh, I can help with this animal. It doesn't have to be all somebody coming to the house.
Right. Right.
Thank you.
And Mel and oh wait. Oh, okay. So Mel's on the call and she had texted me as well. So I just want to make sure that it wasn't. So Mel, I see that you've unmuted, and Mel and Dawn, welcome. I wasn't able to say hello. So hey Mel.
Hi. I do Reiki on humans as well. I'm a human Reiki practitioner as well. And if they have animals, they also feel the energy and they always lay down in the room. So it's not just beneficial to the human to do the Reiki on them, but the animals really feel it and they just relax and sometimes snore, just like the owners do, because I have a lot of owners that fall asleep and start snoring. And the pets usually do the same thing. So it's an all around. It's because the energy disperses everywhere. It's not just focused directly onto the human when I do human Reiki, but animal Reiki, of course, is a little different, and it's just I do it very often with my own animals. And I recently had, before my bird passed, I brought them to to get their nails cut at a local exotic pet store that only has birds basically, or exotic animals, and it's always very, very loud in there. And we just walked in and I just focused in on myself. I went inwards with my two birds there, and the whole room just went quiet. And this is a bird with there's lots and lots of birds in there, and it is never quiet in there. And it makes such a difference when your energy is calm and they feel that. They all quieted down, and the owner walked in and he's like, "This never happens." And I said, well, I can come more often if this is good for you, And he's like, this is fantastic. He's like, it is so loud in here, but this time, it was nice and quiet, when we walked in together. So.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Mel. It's so powerful, this gift that we have. And so I know you texted and you said that your sweet Luna passed away unexpectedly and you wanted to include her in the meditation, and absolutely, we will all be thinking of sweet Luna, because I know you have another bird, Tommy, that is.
Yeah, from her mate who misses her very much, just like I do.
I'm so sorry, Mel. I'm so
So yeah, I would really appreciate that.
absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
You know, it's just that's the worst feeling in the world, when we lose our animals and we feel so helpless. And so I'm so glad you came on, Mel, to share this with us. And of course, we will put her in the meditation, which we'll do in just a second. And then does anyone else have any other comments about this? Luna said, does anyone teach let animals lead online? I have Usui and Holy Fire attunements. Yeah. Like right now I'm doing an animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners online. Kelly's got a level 1, 2, and 3 separate classes starting in January online. I know Kathleen Prasad has many classes coming up, but she usually teaches once a quarter, all 3 levels. I think her level 1 classes are huge too. They're like, she can fit 30 people. So I think Kelly and I do smaller classes. The most I will take in a class is 8, but yeah, there's many different ways that you can study online. Kelly, Kathleen, and I are the only licensed online teachers though. So it has to be from one of the 3 of us. I don't do level 1s. Kelly does. So does Kathleen. I like the Animal Reiki for Reiki practitioner. We all do level 3.
And we also offer credits.
Yes, we offer CPD credit, which is continuing education. So if you need continuing education, your organization will more than likely accept the CPD because it's an international continuing education unit. So all of our classes qualify for that. I think each one is about 10 hours of CPD or continuing education if you need that. So does anyone, I know we're over time, so people probably have to leave. Does anyone else have any comments before we go into the meditation? Yeah, I'm waiting to see if anyone wants to unmute. Okay, great. Kelly, did you want to do the meditation? If not, no worries, I can do it. I just didn't.
If you could do it, that'd be great. I've got a barking dog here.
Oh, no problem. And then Luna said to Mel, my sincerest sympathies. My companion parrot, dogs, and cats have passed in the last year. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Luna. Yeah, and so we're gonna do a quick meditation, but you can bring in all of your animals, whether they are here or past, into this beautiful space. So we start every meditation by going into Gasho prayer pose. And this in itself is a meditation. It helps to really balance you. And so we just take a couple deep breaths here, breathing in deeply through our nose, pulling that breath into our belly, expand your belly, and then slowly release your breath out your mouth. And do a couple more of those breaths. And just make sure your out breath is just slightly longer than your in breath. And this stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system and helps bring relaxation and calm into your body really rather quickly. And whenever you're ready, bring your breathing back to a normal state and set your intent that you're open to receive whatever it is that you need most at this moment in time. And set your intent, you're open to holding space for all who need it, be it human, animal, or nature, or even a situation. And set your intent that you're creating a beautiful healing circle, all of us together, and all those who are living and past can come and join us. And whenever you're ready, you can bring your hands face up or face down in your lap. And we're going to be focusing on our inner light. So I want you to breathe into your belly. And when your breath hits your belly, I want you to imagine that there is a light at your belly. And on the out breath, you can either breathe out through your mouth or your nose. The light at your belly expands. Breathing in, our breath touches our inner light, and on the out breath, it expands throughout our entire body. This light is your own unique, beautiful healing light. It is the light that the animals see, the light that the animals connect with. And as you breathe in and out, your light grows brighter and brighter until it fills every cell of your being. You are this beautiful illuminated light. It can be purple or green or multicolored, whatever you see, whatever color you see as your light, that is your own unique light. And breathing in and out, we really focus on the feeling of light, the feeling of love, the feeling of joy. Your inner light is the light of your pureness, the light of everything that is good about you, your compassion, your wisdom, your peaceful energy. You are this beautiful light. You are more light than you are matter. And as you breathe in and out, I want you to envision your light starting to seep out into the space around you. Imagine yourself as a beautiful globe of light. Feel your beautiful energy in this light. And I want you to imagine that you're like the sun, and your rays shoot out everywhere, rays of love, of joy, of happiness, of strength, and compassion. You are this beautiful light. And the animals, when they connect to us, they connect to your light. They connect to our purest version of ourselves, which is this light. As you breathe in and out, imagine your light growing brighter and brighter, stronger and stronger. Your light goes out into all directions. Your light brings peace and comfort to all it touches. And when your light touches animals, whether it's animals that are here with you or animals who have passed, they connect to us in this light. And they mirror back their own light to us. In this beautiful space with our animals, there is no give and take. There's a beautiful infinity of just an exchanging, mirroring back love, peace, joy, and wisdom. Our animals teach us and show us how to be better humans and how to be with them. Animals never leave us. Their spirit is always with us. The light of their heart is always connected to ours. And just allow yourself to feel how beautiful and expansive your energy is. Allow yourself to feel the connection with any and all animals that come to you. I'd like you to bring your focus to your breath and start to bring yourself back. And we're going to bring our hands in a gasho. And we're going to set our intent that we're done. But I also want us to set our intent that we're going to keep this beautiful, loving space open, that we are going to go throughout our day and into our night with our beautiful light shining. Your light has the power to deflect any negativity. Your light has the power to deflect anything that you don't want in your world that doesn't serve you. Your light is pure joy and love, and your light can heal. Your light can change things. So keep this light going strong as you go throughout your day, always knowing you can tap back into this beautiful space we created and get strength. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring yourself back. Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you so much to Kelly for joining us. and being here. We really appreciate it. It was so wonderful having your wisdom. And
Thank you, Leah. Thanks, everyone.
comment if you could please just keep Mel's little Luna in your heart and in your sessions. That would be really, really appreciated. And thank you so much. I don't know if it's Lee or Leah, but thank you so much. Or Leanne. Oh God, I can't. Leanne, I don't have my glasses on. I need to start wearing my glasses. Leanne. And Chris, thank you. Thank you all so much for being here. And we have a beautiful community together. And together, whether you know the Let Animals Lead method or you don't, together we are creating a beautiful space. And this space of love echoes out around the world. And our energy, our love, our light has the power to make huge changes. So thank you all so much for being open to this. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Leah.
Thank you, Kelly. Love you.
Love you, sis.